Exactly, and when you look at the way this series played out, if we don't think FlyQuest made any major issues early in the draft phase, TSM as the winner isn't going to think that either, so we could get clone bans in this game, and you never know how close we get to that run back. Gray's ban changes it up a little bit. That was Lulu in game 1.
Yes, it was. We'll see if anything else changes on this side. Of course, we know Lee Sin is a non-mirrored jungle pick that Sven is happy to play, that Moon really hasn't shown to do so, and the Rumble ban comes through as well. So Malzahar and Lulu both on the table as options.
Yeah, trying to put FlyQuest in a bit of a bind here. Lemonnation has loved playing Malzahar throughout the split, but Lulu is a good pick against it. Instead, we don't have that choice being made by FlyQuest early.
I actually think this is pretty smart to not first pick one of those supports. Because you can get it. You can get it later. It's going to be a match anyway, and they care a lot about this Ashe pick. So grabbing that up early is going to allow them the flexibility to trade that later on and kind of get both.
And Lulu's going to be grabbed up for this one. They consider that champion more important than Malzahar. And it's actually not one that we've seen Biofrost play much of. Only 4 Malzahar plays the entire year long, so hasn't done much. And Lee Sin actually a little surprised to see an early grab because I don't think it's very contested, but they still want that champion. He's good at it.
Yeah, and at that point, with the Lulu being the main power pick on the board, TSM's still going to try and wait for as many counter picks as possible, I would have to say. So they just lock in the jungler right now because Svenskeren's so good at it.
Yeah, same roles as the first draft, but different champions here, arguably higher or lower on the tier list. Malzahar will go unplayed unless it goes mid in this game. Karma going to be the grab for the support role.
We did actually see Lulu played mid earlier today in Europe. Not expecting it, but Bjergsen did used to run this champion back when it was meta, and it wouldn't be completely shocking. I think it's extremely powerful, especially when paired with another shielding support or a jungler. You know, you can run a lot of carry type AD compositions.
And it's worth pointing out, like, he did that when he was with WildTurtle. It wasn't like it was a double if special where, oh, when we're suddenly bot lane focused is what's important here. So he may give Turtle plenty of buffs. We'll have to see if he wants to play that style.
And Turtle had a great game 1. You know, he talked about wanting to bounce back to prove himself in this series here against FlyQuest, and he looked really good so far.
Yeah, it's interesting as well that Hai has locked in the Orianna. It has been a good champion for him, but I also feel like that's a big skill test champion up against Bjergsen. He got the pentakill against TSM. We just saw it as the Orianna, so I can't fault him for that pick early, but it is a much different style than what they were playing with in game 1.
It is his most played by far, 14 Orianna picks. His next most played was actually Corki way back at the start of the season when he was spamming that at 7 games. So certainly not something they're not used to. And, you know, we saw in the interview, Hai and Bjergsen going back and forth. Hai was saying, you know, other people may think that he's the perfect mid laner, but Hai doesn't necessarily agree. He thinks that he can match up well.
And now we get to see the only unmirrored role on the one side is jungle, the other one the bot lane. So it's jungle bans in for TSM, as they will contest top laners later on in this one. Ezreal going to be dropped off the map as well. Of course, we know Varus and Lucian still available options. Lucian, of course, what WildTurtle had won on before.
I've felt recently like AD carry bans, unless it's a super pocket pick or someone's amazing at a specific champion, feel less and less valuable because there's just so many AD carries that are prioritized differently by different teams, work extremely well. You see everything from Caitlyn to Ezreal to Ashe to Varus all being first picked at times.
Yeah, and unless you can completely eliminate the lower mobility carries against something like Orianna Ashe, I don't see the most value in doing it, but Ezreal is kind of best in class as far as mobility and ability to dodge things like Ashe Arrow and Shockwave, so that's why I'd understand that pick.
And we'll see, maybe FlyQuest going to look for some heavy pressure in the bot lane. Lucian going to be dropped off the table as well. Now, I wouldn't call Ezreal lane dominant, but Lucian certainly can be, and it means he's going to play that more reserved. It's interesting, Varus is arguably a stronger laner in terms of being always able to split. Less of a bully, to be fair, but it might allow FlyQuest to go for hard pressure. I think Karma does outlane Lulu.
Yeah, I'd want to see Caitlyn here, actually, because I feel like this does play into FlyQuest ban strategy. Varus is absolutely something that can get picked off by FlyQuest CC here.
Kennen picked up for the top lane here for FlyQuest. I've not seen him play that style, and actually,
triple
Ivern
shield
as well. Lots of shields, yeah.
This is actually almost an AD carry 1v9 type comp. You have to have Altec doing well, because otherwise you do not have that target to really buff up and power up and to take over the game. So much of that is going to be on his shoulders. We need to see FlyQuest having a good lane, and Mundo was banned out last game, would be available this time if he wanted to go for it, but I think he'll look for something more aggressive to match the Kennen.
Wow.
The Renekton for the matchup. Blind pick Kennen into Renekton top lane here for Hauntzer. Gonna be a fun one.
So one of the things that you really have to watch out for, I think that Kennen can perform quite well against Renekton in the one-on-one, but such good gank assist. You're pushing in against the Lee Sin Renekton. You can get ganked so easily.
But there's an interesting mechanic here. TSM are now without a tank in the lineup. Renekton and Lee Sin can frontline in a pinch. Yeah, there's a Lulu, but there's no Nautilus, no Maokai, nothing like this. So the durability is down. Kennen, supposed to be good in tank matchups, has almost forced a bruiser in there instead.
And there is an overwhelming amount of shields on FlyQuest if they can scale up to the mid game in a good spot. These team compositions are vastly different than what we saw in Game 1. 8 different champions right here, so a much different game we're about to see.
I really feel like this game is going to hinge on the bot lane. If you have a triple shielding comp and your AD carry as TSM fails to bring that consistent DPS, you will not be able to punch through that lineup. And similarly for FlyQuest, they will not have the DPS if Altec is not having a good game.
Yeah, we also have to touch on Moon. We mentioned how large his champion pool has been. This is his first Ivern game. He hasn't actually pulled that one out. So I believe that's jungler number 11 or 12 for him on the split. Definitely trying to break it out right now.
Number 11 for him. He put in his 5th Gragas game a second ago, but here we go. As we have the players getting ready to load onto the Rift, we are ready to get into Game 2 as well. A new look for both these squads. FlyQuest hoping to make the upset happen over North American stalwarts. TSM, the most successful team in North American LCS history. Heck, in North American League of Legends history, not even the LCS withstanding, versus FlyQuest, hoping to make it back in to the big stage here in the finals.
When we talk about FlyQuest, we talk so much about their mental strength. You know, teams that are able to bounce back from losses and have the confidence in their preparation, in their strategies. And I'm very interested to see how well prepared FlyQuest will look on these champions, because Ivern can look really amazing when you're good at it, and pretty worthless at times, as we've seen in the NALCS.
Yeah, and against Lee Sin, I feel like it is a fairly tricky matchup because Lee Sin is so good at punishing you if you get caught by an invade early, which is something Ivern really likes to do. On top of that, you have this FlyQuest team who has the potential to push in a lot of their lanes early. So the early game with the Ivern will be very pivotal.
And I think that is why FlyQuest is putting so much emphasis on this 3-man move up, getting a ward to allow them some intel on where the Lee Sin is starting, where he could be, so Moon can better react to that and avoid those early invades.
Minions have spawned.
See what they can do with this one. Of course, that trinket ward is nice, and we'll see what everyone does. Moon will figure out very quickly that he can't do anything special on the top side of the map. Maybe a Krug steal, that's maybe a bit awkward for him.
Yeah, it's also not bad to do what Inori did last week on Ivern, where you're actually just full clearing your own jungle. That's not actually the path that Moon is starting for right here. The full clear would have started on the blue side, so this actually looks like he could be going for a blue buff steal, and that would be warded currently if he walks through the river. No, he's just going for a fairly conservative route right here.
Okay, doing his own jungle. He could have gotten to Krugs if he wanted to, but yeah, he's going left-hand side. Of course, you can see the river wards out from TSM prevent a lot of this from happening, as Moon will satchel over the wall and grab his blue buff to make sure Lee Sin doesn't steal. And this really ensures that a Lee Sin invade doesn't happen either. You can do like red starts on Lee and invade into Ivern's jungle and battle him because you'll be level 2 to level 1. Not going to be the case here, of course. They're just going to essentially trade camps on their own side of the map.
And they're both going to be positioned to run bottom lane at level 3 if they so choose.
Another thing I do kind of like about the pairing of the Karma and the Ivern is it opens up for more flexibility with the itemization on the Karma. You now don't necessarily have to rush for a Locket or Redemption. You can go for things like a super early Ardent Sensor to pair very well with that, because the Ivern is going to be building up those core items for you.
So right now, FlyQuest have full information of exactly what Camp Svenskeren went for. Of course, they saw him start Rapids, but they know for sure after the Hawkshot as well. And looks like it's going to be an early recall control ward and boots for Moon. We've seen this one pretty frequently, but it does mean that Moon resets to the top side of the map. TSM really weren't very gankable in the bottom lane anyway. Biofrost battles Lemonnation, gets a nice chunk down. A volley for Retribution, but it's overall a fairly close laning phase. And overall farm-wise, I think tied to maybe a small lead for WildTurtle if he against the Kennen. And it's technically +1 menu for Altec that gets all these.
Yeah, and this game is actually a fairly different dynamic for FlyQuest, where in Game 1, they really wanted to get high roaming around and create a lot of surprises with Moon's Gragas, where in this game with all the shields, they don't have to do that because they do have potential advantages in a lot of these lanes. This is a pretty interesting move there by Moon in an odd place for control port.
Yeah, but it's very unlikely to get revealed for a while, and it'll watch for Svenskeren often looking to lane gank this. As right now, it's been Moon giving the lane pressure.
Oh, they may actually run into each other here.
Doesn't
He
see
didn't
him.
see it.
Oh no.
Perfect aim for Sven, and why did this gank happen here? He's got to ask balls. He's to run away
low,
with this
though.
one. Doesn't. He does flash the Q. That was crucial. He needed to dodge that skill shot. He does so. Gets away with it.
Really well played by Ball so far. He has no summoner spells left.
Does he get a stun? Looks like not. Sven goes for the Q. He doesn't quite land it. That was a guess that he thankfully got wrong.
Very well played by Balls, fighting back, pushing Hauntzer off, flashing the Q. A lot of patience there. Could have gone very wrong.
Yeah, incredibly unlucky for him at the start of that as well, because Moon was doing pretty much everything he could to prep him for a gank.
Flash Q, damage in the high, there's the shield, the barrier as well. The root into Sven needs a bit more damage, and it will be 2 summoners down for Svenskeren's flash.
Flash, barrier, and the Ivern shield, enough to keep him relatively healthy, but it does push him into that recall pattern. Svenskeren making a lot of moves early, but not many results as of yet.
The question becomes, can he follow up on those summoner advantages that they have gained for themselves? And now, Moon down on the bot side. No wards on this for TSM.
Yeah, doable.
They could get caught out.
And no, Svenskeren's not going to be here, so they can be very bold with these moves. He might flash for an E.
Does he get the slow onto both? He does. Now the root could be on either one. Finds WildTurtle. Ignite is on. Heal's not going to mean much. They have the damage, the flash, the follow, the kill. First blood on the Moon yet again. FlyQuest find it.
The flash auto from the Brushmaker for the Ivern. One of the most tilting ways to die to him level 1 with that little smack. But that's exactly a smart gank for Moon. It's a low damage, high utility gank, but when they know that Svenskeren's not going to be there, they're able to burn those flashes aggressively.
And we have a quick silent report from Kevin Flowers, this time with the FlyQuest Coach Think card.
Thank you very much, guys. I did get a chance to talk to Think Card, kind of about how FlyQuest was doing heading into game number 2. He said that this is a team of veterans. They're very comfortable in this position. Obviously, nobody wants to start off a game down in the series, but these are some guys that know exactly how to tackle those kinds of situations, thinking they're going to be just fine in this one. Going into the second match, they wanted to make sure that they were focusing a little bit more on keeping that bottom lane protected, keeping that in good shape. But at the same time, he respects the playmaking potential coming out of the top lane, the jungle, the mid lane, everywhere from TSM. So we'll have to see how things work out for them here in game number 2. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much for that, Captain Flowers. And thinking about respecting TSM's playmaking potential, when you have 3 different champions that are capable of shielding, it does allow you to have a bit more of a reactive style. And interestingly enough, even though FlyQuest had so much roaming in game 1, most of their wins were actually when reacting to the TSM plays.
And you have to be damn sure you're going to actually be able to burst someone down if you go in for a fight, because the amount of shielding that you can get done in one of these long fights is incredible. But TSM moving up to the top side are spotted out and looks like it's called off.
Pretty crucial ward right there. I think they saw balls back off suddenly. And it's like, oh, they know we're here? Okay, never mind. I'm going to check out whose ward that was. Huge credit goes to Moon, who has put 3 to 4 wards now, specifically top side 4 balls to track these Lee Sin ganks.
And who has also been having a very solid start to this game. He has been very active, moving around, warding for his teammates, picks up first blood on the bot side, and grabbing those early lucidity boots can be pretty big.
Yeah, it power clears your jungle a little bit more than you'd expect, since you don't have to wait for the Ivern passive to channel the camp for you, and you can just smite it more frequently. Also want to point out the Brushmaker mechanic giving you temporary vision in a brush. So he was able to check the river pink ward that TSM has from about 1,500 units away, which is something almost no other champion can do. Pinged it out. Now everyone knows that there's pink ward control for TSM in the river.
And these are the full season stats for Moon versus Svenskeren. And Moon, had a breakout year. This is not a guy who was considered a top-tier jungler. Many people expected him to fall flat this year for FlyQuest, but he was really strong throughout much of the season for them.
Yeah, it's really interesting, too, because when FlyQuest qualified, it was with Cloud9's new jungler with contracts, and everyone said, oh, wow, they lost arguably their best player, this rookie talent. Oh, they picked up Moon. Awkward. And Moon's actually, in some cases, had a better year than contracts, and really helped FlyQuest get to the state they are now. You saw his regular season stats better than TSM's jungler. Now looking for Bjergsen, gonna miss the flash. That shockwave still lands, but Sven's still coming. Pi does not have flash. He's gonna get followed here. Barrier is on, gonna survive this damage output. Sven does not have flash either. There's the root. Here comes Daisy. Here comes the damage. After the knockup is in. Great kick over the wall. Smite's gonna keep Daisy away, and Sven stays alive with that one.
So another attempt by TSM to make a big play there, and a lot of little tiny outplays by FlyQuest keeping him alive. The shockwave right on Bjergsen's flash right there, being able to collapse onto Svenskeren during that gank. All things that are allowing FlyQuest to keep the pressure up in other lanes.
Speaking of pressure, look at this bot lane. They're getting turret pressure this time around. They've got a chunk on WildTurtle. They've got a 20 minion lead from Altec and Lemonnation. This is so unlike the first game.
And we talked about how important the bot lane can be into swinging this game. And Ivern, Moon is the first one who really affected it. FlyQuest are making the most of that, but here's Sven.
Comes Lee Sin, plenty of damage up, but here the kick is on. They're going to get the kill picked up. Nicely done. The chase for Altec, the best he could get. The Whimsy, he doesn't have flash to get the kill, and it's a double kill for Biofrost. What a turnaround for Svenskeren.
Double kill on the Lulu, and this is the first time Sven made it before Moon would be able to answer. He's been following him around the whole game, but unable to make it happen here.
And now it's time for turret defense, of course. This thing's at full HP, so there's not much more than the push coming in, but Moon may hope to stop recalls, and we can watch that fight again.
Yeah, right as the empowered Karma Q comes in, Svenskeren jumps in with the safeguard. And here, Altec did not have flash or heal, so he goes for the kill and ends up looking a little silly, but he wasn't making much of an escape, even if he fell back for Ivern.
It is unfortunate that Lemon wasn't able to get off his Ignite or really contribute much before going down there, because that was so close to getting a kill on Turtle. If they could have traded there, it would have been much better.
Even worse, he was actually willing to flash, but didn't flash the Lee Sin Q, so he still took the entire combo, I'm pretty sure, and lost Summoner anyway. It was just a mechanical misplay turned away that kill. See what else can happen in this one, though, as Balls is still treading water. It's still an equal matchup, which again is way better than pre-game expectations of Balls versus Hauntzer. And this is after Balls got ganked, lost his flash just like the last game, and he's still holding up just fine against Hauntzer.
But here comes Lee Sin sneaking into that bush. Moon is around topside, but not in position yet, and this is going to be an easy gank setup for Hauntzer. He needs to get the slice and dice into that stun. We'll see if he can go for it.
Oh,
this is when they want to go. They're going to go.
Play this slow is on. Ball's going to ult for the stun. Now can he get away with this one? Flashes early. The Q is still on him, though. And the kick flashes in. That's going to be Balls going down. You assume the shield is not enough. One more hit will do it. The flash to follow, but the Q lands anyway, and Svenskeren gets that kill. Nicely done. TSM open up that top lane.
Nicely done to trade back that turret on the bot side, though. That is first turret going down in the 2v2 for Altec and Lemonnation, despite getting double killed. So they are holding strong for the team, and the gold is still in their advantage.
Yeah, making an aggressive play on the other side of the map while contention is happening in the top side. That fight itself, though, Balls was a little bit too greedy with that Lightning Rush. There's no reason to Lightning Rush there when everyone is missing, and it was the clear go-ahead for TSM to get that kill.
Yeah, he just wanted that faster wave clear, but it's a high price to pay. It's a big risk, and he's going an extremely defensive build, but here's Sven on the side looking for a kick in on high.
Going to high, does not have ulti, going to damage across, another stun elimination. He's going to take the assassination from Bjergsen, and here comes the Hauntzer flank as well. Wants Altec, forcing his flash out, maybe unneeded, but chunk down to 500 HP, and out goes Hauntzer.
Yeah, at the moment, TSM is getting enough burst damage to cut through these shields because none of the shields have actually scaled up in a meaningful way. A nice teleport. Oh, can they turn it?
They Ashe arrow Svenskeren every single game it seems. This time around, he's able to jump away. Hauntzer wants in, gets the kill picked up, nearly in range for Altec as well. And a kill in the tower die of 5 men strong. Nicely played.
High zoom and is still sticking around as Balls comes in, but very close there for FlyQuest.
Yeah, 5 men strong trying to push into that turret. FlyQuest could not hold it with 3, but tried to. TSM, when they do get the advantage, have been very decisive about trying to push it. That turret dive, an example.
We'll see if they can keep this one going. The game now 500 gold in the lead for TSM, and only because of these kills, though. A lot of the laning phases have gone well for FlyQuest. That first turret gold influential as well. Quick ward hop away, Svenskeren pops out.
I'm kind of surprised, honestly, a little bit by the build here from Balls. It's so defensive with the Jorum's Fist and the Ninja Tabby. He's not building towards a Bork, and it feels like he's not really have much of a split push edge. But here's the play again. It's WildTurtle, actually, with the flash ultimate on the side, setting up for the easy kill elimination for Bjergsen. So nice initiation came from him.
Yeah, and the initiation was fairly synced with Hauntzer's teleport, which ended up being fairly low impact. But then you can see high-low on mana, Altec also quite low. The Lulu ult still holding for Svenskeren, which turns around this kill attempt pretty easily for FlyQuest. Or for TSM.
Yeah, for TSM, but against FlyQuest, absolutely. Yeah. TSM able to get control of their own blue buff here. Control ward fight in the bottom river for FlyQuest, getting that one back, and they are continuing to somewhat ARAM here for this one, trying to knock down this turret. It is taking a few licks, but it's still at 2/3, and here comes Svenskeren. Do the teammates show up in time? Balls and Hauntzer both missing TP, so it's a 4v4. And the disengage is easy enough.
One thing I will say when you're playing against these shield comps, you really do need cooldowns for TSM to actually fight. So I think if you can force the fight immediately again after a lot of those are down from TSM, it can be a lot tougher because you have to instantly burst people down or the shields will outlast you in the fight.
Yep. And that's a lot of why FlyQuest is staying together as well, of course, is you put the shields all together. You got Windspeaker's Blessing on 2 of them. The stats will be there. And you can survive through all this. Nice steal by Sven. Gonna dodge the root as well. Balls is in. Goes for the stun, lands that, hits the satchel. No, it's going to be kicked back by Sven. And Balls, I think, was still in E, so his auto attack wasn't available. He could turn that off and get the auto, didn't get it to happen. I think that's a misplay. Balls probably could have gotten that one to go better, but Sven gets away with it.
Yeah, also Svenskeren very comfortable on this champion.
Of course.
If he's had an issue getting killed in the enemy jungle, it's less likely to happen on Lee Sin because he has so many tools to use for an escape.
Here's the attempt for mid lane outer, gonna happen. TSM the first turret kill the game. 3-man shotgun though. Is it gonna mean a little bit more? Lemonnation lands only a small soul flare, and it's gonna be the easy disengage. TSM make that happen in the mid lane.
Yeah, the follow-up isn't there. Altec's in the bot side. Balls does not have his ultimate, so he can't really go aggressive into them. Still a nice little shockwave. May net them some pressure in mid lane.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, but that is a rank 1 shockwave from someone who hasn't necessarily completed the Morellonomicon or the big damage items yet. So that's the type of play FlyQuest will want in the late game, because with how TSM is going to be lacking a lot of tankiness, that could end up being a triple kill later, but in this current situation, it just pushes them back off the mid lane and opens up room for a trade.
For FlyQuest, old habits die hard. Cloud, Drake flowing through their veins, and we'll see if the rotations matter much for them. Hauntzer still continues to pressure in this top side. He's somewhat squishy build, going to the early Tiamat. Means extra attack damage, means his turret's going to take some pretty significant punishment. And looks like no one is here to contest. This turret will go down solo from Hauntzer. Almost definitely.
Yeah, everyone on FlyQuest recalls after that Drake and needs to make their way back out, but also all of their wards have been pushed towards the Cloud Drake area, so it's also kind of risky for them to even contest this turret that they're taking.
Yeah, he's going to stay. Not enough threat. Altec, yeah, I don't think it's worth him tossing the arrow out to buy some time. I think that turret was resigned to its fate regardless. He saves the cooldown. It was a potential play, but probably not a great one. Biofrost going to control wards.
Especially because they don't know if Svenskeren is there covering him on his retreat or anything like that. But this does mean this is a significant edge for Hauntzer. He has been winning out in this 1v1, taking that turret down, getting the solo gold. Means he's quite a bit ahead, and I think Balls is going to really struggle in this 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, going later into the game, the Kennen does have so much split push threat naturally when you have Blade of the Ruined King and some of your other attack speed items, but he's really slow in getting to that point. A lot of ganks were targeted at him early, and they are continuing to try and focus him in the split push.
He's going to try to run away from Bjergsen. Actually cleans out from the slow. And shout out to Cloud Drake getting him away in time.
Or the Lightning Rush, or his
but it's
savviness to run back.
They all add together.
As Phreak said, shout out to Cloud Drake for getting him away.
Yeah. Beautiful. And here we go. Onto the bot lane. TSM still playing aggressive. This time not being answered by FlyQuest. There's the root into this one. Plenty damage in a lemon, but no more follow-up than half HP. The bot turret should fall.
And the push lanes for TSM in top and mid mean that FlyQuest really cannot actually respond to this. They're funneling more solo gold into Hauntzer. They're making it so that he is going to be so far ahead of Balls, and Balls may never get to that point where he's the split push threat.
May never be. He's going to try to scale up, but for now, it's TSM who have controlled all of the plays here. Almost to 4,000 gold.
TP coming in. That's a black cleaver now completed.
Balls has not joined this yet, so it's a 5v4. It's a full 5 seconds late on the teleport. Here comes the stun. A big knockup from Lulu. Altec could trap first. He's going to be taken out right away for the top laner. The ball stun means nothing, and already they've got a Syndra here. Make it 2, make it 3, make it almost the 4th, and they will. 4-for-0 cleanly for TSM.
After that Lulu ult came in, that was a big Hauntzer in the middle of FlyQuest, and they were not ready for that collapse. They were trying to make a turret trade since Hauntzer had just been in the bottom side doing that, but that's how split push teams work. You get your split pusher ahead, and then you flank teleport when the collapse is imminent, and that's exactly what TSM was able to do.
And I mean, TSM has been pushing out edge after edge after edge, and now it feels like the floodgates may have opened. Balls has not been getting experience, has not been getting any items or gold in so long, and he's, I mean, look at that inventory. Like, he has nothing going on for him right now, and it's going to be such a point of weakness. It's not the AP Kennen that can fly into a team fight and turn something around.
And still only sitting on 800 gold, so it's not like he's close to the Blade of the Ruined King or even the frozen
Not
mallet
close to any.
completion, which is not what you want as your first item. So definitely TSM playing around the top lane better, and Hauntzer kind of bides his time until he can get that right stun, gets a 3-man knockup after he jumps in. And notice how ineffectual Balls is with a rank 1 ultimate, since, by the way, he's 2 levels under Hauntzer, and then the rest of TSM can just pick up kills on the backside.
At this point, it's easy pickings for TSM. Solid 6,000 gold, and they've got all the control. They can't even take Baron yet because it doesn't exist. That's how much they've been winning this game. They don't even have a Baron to kill. It's just been FlyQuest under their heel the whole time. Next Drake up is Mountain in a couple of minutes. We'll see if TSM can kill Balls yet again. He's trying to run.
Farm.
He gets away with it.
Yeah, even if they don't kill him, they're still preventing him from getting any type of shove going.
And Svenskeren really has felt like he's been moving around the map, putting out pressure so well this game. Moon did have some great early involvement, got that first blood, but since then has not really been able to get much of anything done.
We'll see if FlyQuest can ever find those signs of life. The bot lane crash was all that had really went well for them, and it's all stopped since. Still a farm lead for Altec. Hurricane not terribly far away, but because of all the extra kills, he's still down 500 gold against WildTurtle, so that Varus is still going to come online first. And TSM doing a very good job of staying together and ensuring that these Ashe picks don't do anything.
Yeah, FlyQuest really needs to slow down the pace of the game, stall this out, farm it up, and get to the point where they are very strong as a group composition, because they've just been getting kind of out-moved around the map by TSM, who's been getting pick after pick.
This next mid lane was attempted, but FlyQuest rotated on time to defend, and we'll wait a few more minutes without any kills. But the split push is still happening. Here comes the play for bot lane turret. Svenskeren and Hauntzer jumping in on this. Not too much to gain, but it's still a couple hundred HP out. Progress being made, and Baron now available means one more tool available that TSM can take to win the game.
And 3 of TSM's control wards have been moved into FlyQuest jungle here, while Hauntzer's teleport is coming back off the cooldown. So the play here for TSM is generally to keep Hauntzer bottom and then threaten Baron. If FlyQuest moves up to check and Hauntzer teleport comes back in, they're going to recycle that play they used about 4 minutes ago to pick up 4 kills. And it's very difficult for FlyQuest to work around that based on their deficit.
Let's see what can be gained here. FlyQuest hoping that, yeah, though it's difficult, they do find that opening for themselves. As we look for what TSM is trying to do. Looking at their vision, they've got deep wards in both jungles. FlyQuest do have one ward near Baron.
And it should be the Drake, right? You can grab at a very easy Mountain Drake at this point that can help you to threaten that Baron for the play Jatt was talking about a little bit later on.
Yeah, I do have to credit High for single-handedly taking out all 3 control wards while TSM was back in base recalling. So it's always scary to take wards out of a dark jungle, and the fact that High got all 3 by himself is very impressive.
It definitely helps being Orianna. You can send command attack to face check for you. You don't have to walk into the brush yourselves, but still, yes, it is difficult. You never know if there's a Syndra behind that wall or a Varus, and kudos to High for getting something done. Doesn't really show on the scoreline, but it's still important. Hawkshot helping as well, and we'll see how much FlyQuest can eke out of this side of the map. Still, their vision is pretty dark. They've got just wards to the mouth of their own jungle. They can't see Baron itself, but they can see if TSM invades it. And right now, TSM, their control wards don't quite see them. There we go. And I like that control ward spot, by the way. You put it around there, and it will track those over the cliff wards. Anytime you're doing a Baron as red side, I always like one control ward there.
Yeah, I think the 3 spots you really want, one in the pit, one in the pixel brush, one there, that gives you full coverage around that Baron pit, and really does force out hawk shots and blue trinkets and stuff pretty regularly.
Lemonnation is really getting away from the cube at Haunt. Ooh, yeah, that's going to be sense for the kick flash. And instant deletion. Are you sure? Yes. Lead it off the face of the map there. Oh, wow. I keep calling him Hauntzer. I don't know why, but Svenskeren. Shockwave stays alive. He's going to be all right.
And just the pick potential coming in huge right now. 2 kills on everyone from TSM, so nice kill distribution on them. And they're not even going for Baron as of yet because they're still creating so many picks, and they're playing around Hauntzer for the most part. Arrow tried to go mid lane for a pick.
They actually found WildTurtle with it, but just really snakes away and plenty of damage back on Altec. Still, the better trade came for FlyQuest, but yeah, Turtle low.
Health-wise, the better trade came for FlyQuest, but the turret was taken down bottom by TSM.
Exactly. Sorry, I misspoke.
Well, successful play.
Apologies. But yeah, successful play. TSM getting another turret. This one 4-1 in that score line. FlyQuest maybe with the temporary health lead can look for control of top side, but they haven't gotten much vision to show for it. Hauntzer still pressing against Balls. 2-level lead maintained. Balls can only wave clear. That Ruin King still not yet done. But he has the money to combine it, so when he gets back to base, he'll have finally his first item power spike.
Yeah, it's just so late that it feels like he's never going to catch up to Hauntzer, who is on 2 items, who is incredibly powerful, and who's going to be, honestly, more of a team fight threat and more of a split push threat.
Totally agree. I think Hauntzer is being a good surrogate frontline tank. It's early enough that the real damage items aren't in yet, and Lulu helps with that, and so that's the case we're in, where Hauntzer is durable enough despite only having hybrid tank items, the Juggernaut items here.
And I think a lot of that comes from how much disruption is actually caused by this Renekton. When he goes into a fight, you have to show so much respect to his damage that the team scatters, and you're not able to actually focus him down as you would like to.
See if they can do it. Double Ruin King could help. Nice stun on Altec, where they go for the play. Bjergsen not quite going to. He pulled aggro. But Altec is almost dead. Nice stun into WildTurtle. Cleanses it away. Stays alive. Actually, that was...
Yeah, very early Mikhail's built up by Biofrost, so instead of going Redemption or Locket, he goes Mikhail, since that is kind of FlyQuest's way back into the game. This is a situation where I really like it this early.
I think it's super smart, you know, especially since your mid laner also doesn't have cleanse. This is kind of bringing that summoner for them, but nice shockwave, Turtle in trouble!
Turtle is low, but he's not going to die. High is, though. And now it chases for Lemonnation. Can he make this happen? Not going to land this slow, and out goes TSM, just barely surviving the encounter.
That's the
incredibly close, and that's the goal lead exactly. The Ludens isn't completed by High. You have a Leandries for the durability from Bjergsen. You have level 11 on Biofrost for the larger wild growth. Those small golden experience leads are the margins that TSM just won that engagement off.
Nicely played by them, and the siege continues now as they look for a bit more in this top lane tier 2. They have sent Varus back to heal, but ooh, the chase is in. They want to get the stun out from Balls. Hauntzer running low on HP, and they almost get the kill. The chase is in. Sven's going to be next up. That's a 2 for 0. The chase, the root's going to land, and it's going to be FlyQuest finding their way into the game. 3 kick pickups, including the jungler dead, maybe means a Baron attack.
Yeah, they have to go for Baron, I feel, at this point in the game. They are so far behind. This is risky, but they need to get something done.
Double Blade of the Ruin King, it's going to be fast.
Yeah, Double Blade of the Ruin King, not to mention an Ivern who can hide the Baron from any potential steals, even though there's no smite, and also tank with Daisy. So TSM's going to try and do something about this because they don't want to give it up, but with this Baron, it's going to close the gold lead to about 5,000.
And this could be the swing that FlyQuest needs. They need to secure it, though.
Get some brush on Baron, man! Just hide it.
I think he's out of charge at this point. Use him in the fight. As long as
Eyes here too.
Stun's gonna land. The shockwave is in. Smite picked up and the kill as well. I appreciate the thought from Turtle, but that is perfect. Plus 4 kills, plus the Baron, the gold within 5K, and maybe they can get more.
The team that never says die. FlyQuest find the fight. Despite being down members, Balls with the miracle engage.
And just when we talked about how TSM had the gold lead to keep him alive in the previous fight, they don't even have WildTurtle here because he's too low. Altec is untouched. The shockwave was huge from High. We talked about slightly later in the game. That's going to come in a little bit larger, and it does.
And if they could now, off of this, get some more gold, clean up some of these turrets, they really can close the gap in this game. This means Balls is now on 2 items. He's becoming relevant finally.
Absolutely true, and of course not just the turrets, but the Mountain Drake will spawn during Baron Buff's tenure, maybe a little bit more that FlyQuest can pick up during this. Won't show in gold, but of course is valuable. Sven holding the blue buff here for Bjergsen. Easy pick up there, but right, the question is what can FlyQuest grab?
Yeah, and we also have to point out the fact that Locket and Redemption are completed by Moon at this stage in the game. The Mikhail's was good on Biofrost to prevent the Ashe arrow picks, but the teamfight effectiveness of those giant AoE effects from Redemption and Locket should not be understated. So FlyQuest very much in this game if they can get a good shockwave and a good teamfight.
And as more and more of these supportive items come in to buff up Altec, who's now on 3 items at a very strong point, he can become a powerhouse if we see things like Knight's Vow and these sort of items built up for him. It'd be tough to take him down.
191 attack damage, 60% crit chance. They're ranking on him here as
FlyQuest
well.
want to potentially take this fight. They're sending in Daisy for the face check.
He's actually able to steal away the Drake. Is nicely played. Daisy gonna lose the duel with Svenskeren. The cupcake running.
Yeah, well, we do have to point out that FlyQuest is still down a substantial amount of gold. So they're trying to push the tempo here, but it's risky.
And
Hauntzer's waiting in
for
base.
TP,
This is going to be TSM going for a fight, potentially.
They
They don't
for the
have
play.
a good ward, though, so that's the major thing is FlyQuest did a good job of controlling side brush vision with their pinks on either side before they push up for that. So doing their due diligence denies Hauntzer a TP flank. Smart little play from FlyQuest.
Done. Lemonnation grabbing the wolf. Shout out to the observer who showed us the closest possible ward. What is that single alone brush down by the Baron, or sorry, by the Drake? And you're right, that is too far for a easy flank to be. I gonna grab a blue. Feels good for him.
And this game
Feels great.
was very close to being over. for FlyQuest. They were down around 10,000 gold during that bottom lane fight. But when you look at the way these team compositions interact now, we mentioned TSM doesn't have that solo front line. And even though FlyQuest doesn't have that, they have the tanks to kind of create one, or the shields to kind of create one. So if they keep Altec alive with all of those shields as we keep mentioning, they could very much shred through anyone on TSM.
It's one of the craziest things about FlyQuest is on paper it never feels like they should win, be it gold, be it stats, be it the composition, but they find ways in because they commit to calls so well as a team. They are not risk averse whatsoever. They always go for the winning play as opposed to playing to not lose.
Yep. FlyQuest looking to maybe channel some inner Fnatic with them. Balls is essentially reckless based on item build and champion choice, and maybe that'll help. The double marksman with the Ardent Sensor from Lemonnation could be enough. The shielding and the resistant damage. Again, Blade of the Rune King is such a good item. It's been somewhat meta-defining for bot laners as of the patch where it got buffed. It's, in this case, meta-defining for a top laner. It is persistent damage, and because the pseudo-tanks for TSM aren't armor stacked, they're just a large health pool, Rune King actually cut through that pretty darn well.
Yeah, very quick health shredding. The Ardent Sensor comes in for them in this early because they have the Ivern and they already have access to Locket and the Redemption.
Ooh. He's fine.
They wanted Bjergsen there. But even with the Mikhails, those Ashe arrows are not the same level of initiation as they would have been earlier in the game.
Yeah. I do really like the intelligence support itemization choices on both sides. I think, you know, reacting not only to the situation, but to their team comp, it's just overall very smart play.
Lemonnation picked up a Dark Seal. I don't think he started with that. I think that was a more recent pickup. But
he's had it for roughly the past 10 to 12 minutes. Okay. I feel like he also had a refillable potion earlier on in the game. I generally like Dark Seal as a very efficient AP item that also can bonus if you have the refillable pot. So not a bad pickup unless you're dying all the time and never get a stacked up.
Unless you're 0-5-1.
0-5-1, unlucky.
But even then, start getting kills, build that Soul Stealer.
Yeah.
You're 25 stacks before you know
One good fight. It's so easy to pick up assists on the Karma with your AoE monster shielding. You want to do that anyway with the Ardent Sensor.
Right. So one good team fight, and the item is 30 AP for 300 gold, or 350 gold. Like, that's actually just straight gold efficient. So we'll see if they can use it. Yep. And it's not too risky. Their ward can be good. We'll see if they get much more out of this.
And looking about 31 minutes into the game right here, it's also worth pointing out that FlyQuest and TSM were two of the fastest teams to close out games during the split. Oftentimes for FlyQuest, it's because they're fast winning, and also, as you mentioned, they'd rather try and make a play than lose slowly, so that naturally led to shorter game times. But kind of as we saw from game one as well, usually when TSM gets a large lead, they close out the game very quickly. It's one of the other reasons a lot of their damage per minute numbers are lower, is because once they get a lead, they don't fight. They kill you once instead of 3 times and the game is over. This game is unlike that, though, because they had that flub up in the top side, and FlyQuest is on their way back.
And I wonder if TSM's going to have a good time playing against this. It's interesting because Ivern has kind of left the North American metagame for a while. We see it so scarcely now, and I wonder how much practice TSM has playing against this kind of composition, the triple shield double marksman team. It's a pretty unusual style for this day and age, and maybe there were some overall strategic misplays because they didn't, you know, assess FlyQuest comp properly, and we're now into a fairly close mid to late game.
This is a pretty big pressure point. Sven's coming from behind. Balls is on top side. Altec kicked in.
Shields are in. The damage is still going to be there. The first kill picked up cleanly. The tanks are there, and the turret's going to be gone. 5v4, looking for a bit more. Make it actually 5v3 as Balls has still not joined the team. He knows he can't make it happen. A nice kick in onto Altec. Looking for more. Shockwave out of the back. Let me. Here comes the flash. The stun. A follow-up high is going to be next on the chop and block. That's a 2 for 0. Make it 3 as they've knocked down Lemonnation as well. Balls still has not joined the team.
They could actually just end the game. All the damage threats are off the table now. TSM has minions. Will they tank it up? I think they're just going to go for it. And
they have
FlyQuest may have just thrown it.
They've got a Hauntzer. They got double mountain.
Oh,
they got the moon. He's going to be falling pretty rapidly. And now Balls has to somehow 1 versus 5. Flaxton looks for the damage, looks for WildTurtle, can't kill him off. And he's going to get the 1, but it isn't enough. He gets the 2, but it's still a 3v0 to close the game out. And TSM will do just that. The 2-0 start, and FlyQuest need to hope for a reverse sweep, or TSM will head to face C9 in the finals. As they close this one out, a trade kill in the Nexus, and there's 1 more game to go for TSM to make it all the way to the finals yet again.
And fitting that Hauntzer finishes the Nexus right there. What a weird ending to that game. And a gut-punching way to lose for FlyQuest, because they were on the comeback trail until they get absolutely obliterated by that odd number turret dive by TSM. Altec, the guy who can't get caught out, gets caught out, and then TSM, from that point, executed everything they needed to do to close the game.
I mean, honestly, I don't understand why they're even trying to defend a tier 2 turret with under 10% health, with balls not there, no vision in their jungle, because TSM had full vision control on that side.
Yeah.
Sven pulls off an easy flank, and if Altec dies, the game ends, and that's exactly what happens. I think it's very disappointing end for FlyQuest.
Yeah, because even if you think about it strategically, you're already down a little bit in gold. Yes, you're making the comeback. Trade turrets until they're getting to your inhibitor turrets, because in that situation, they had the Kennen in the side lane able to push. So I'm going to be interested to see the analyst test break that one down again, because that was a strategic misplay as well as some mechanical ones by FlyQuest in a pivotal moment.
Totally agree. So it's the 2-0 start here for TSM. One more to go, but now let's check in with Dash and the analyst to get their thoughts in that game.
Thank you very much, Phreak and Jatt. Don't worry, we'll get into some of those strategic decisions made by both teams within the game itself here in Game 2. But 2-0 start for TSM. They're sitting pretty here, only one win away from qualifying for yet another finals for this organization. But once again, I want to return to champion select, because FlyQuest in Game 2 had the option of side. Okay, they choose blue side. Yet again, they ban so that they can take AShe first priority. And so this to me clearly states that FlyQuest thinks above all else, this is the most important champion for them to secure. The one change they make, though, supporting it with a Karma as opposed to the Braum, rather, but instead, we still don't come away with the victory.
Yeah, and I like the idea to change what they were doing with the support pick. You saw that they actually had a fairly strong laning phase, up CS over the side of TSM, with a little bit of jungler attention as well. The rest of the team comp, though, I don't really love it for what FlyQuest does. They're a very aggressive team. They want a lot of playmaking tools, and this is basically split push Kennen gets a lead, and then you 4-man with the rest of your team and hold on with this very disengaged, focused comp and try and kite back, and that's not what we usually think about what FlyQuest wants to do.
Right, a great comp for even TSM or C9 to play, but for FlyQuest not quite working out this time around. Kobe, within that discussion though, I mean, we did see after that Baron gets taken and what they're talking about there, some questionable strategic decisions when it comes down to that final play. The game didn't need to end there, right? FlyQuest didn't need to take that fight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they don't need to take that fight, and the game doesn't have to end there. As far as the composition, I actually am a pretty big fan of it as well. And even though FlyQuest haven't really shown those tendencies, I like that they, are trying to push themselves in a different direction. They talked about through their struggles throughout the season have been champion related and have been, about the team trying to orient their goals to have clear goals with their compositions. This one they were not able to execute on, but at the core of it, I actually kind of do like it.
And this is not to say that the loss is due to the comp itself, right? I will agree that I appreciate the fact that they're trying a new look. That's what I want to see out of teams. This is, again, when you look at just meta strength, actually all of those champions on that squad, on that team itself, I'm like, whoa, those are powerful picks.
Yeah, and there was actually a crucial moment in the middle of the game, where there was one member from FlyQuest down. TSM were pushing up mid lane, if everybody remembers, and they ping out for a teleport from balls to get that classic Kennen flank. And they shoot the Ashe arrow as the teleport starts channeling. So everybody's almost dead already by the time he gets there. And there are a couple things where, a couple seconds extra in coordination would actually mean a big difference for them. So
crisper execution, and that's now what I want to jump to is the execution, right? Because the game did not hinge on the comps themselves. And at the beginning of the day, we talked a lot about that Moon versus Svenskeren matchup, the fact that Svenskeren during the regular split, definitely not a top performer for TSM, but that there is kind of that expectation around playoffs. And what we saw from Worlds, that Sven might come into his own a little bit here and really turn it on, and that's exactly what happens. Lee Sin against Ivern. What I can appreciate, though, is the fact that both of these junglers are on the same side of the map almost always, so they do have a sense of where the other one wants to be.
Yeah, both are reading the game extremely well. You saw there, both trying to get some attention up to the top side, almost gets a kill, but it does stop balls from pressuring super hard on the Kennen pick. Next time around, Moon makes his way down to the bot side, gets this early kill for his bot lane that now with the Karma can actually start bullying the lane, and off that kill, they start taking over the game. Sven realizes bot lane's losing. What does he do? Goes down there and tries to turn it back in his team's favor.
Yeah, I mean, Sven on Lee Sin is like a completely different picture here, right? He just decided to really kick it in overdrive with the amount of ganks that he put out, and it is hard to keep up with that type of pressure on Ivern. Often you'll find yourself, just due to the playstyle of the champion, trying to come in and save both, trying to come in, and make and neutralize ganks more than create plays for the team, which, as you guys said, the style for FlyQuest that really had worked and what we associate with them is playmaking, you know, and being the ones on the first foot here with Moon and Hai specifically.
Now, and in most cases, I think people would look at this, okay, FlyQuest down 0-2, it's worry time, and especially having lost in the way that they did both Game 1 and Game 2, to kind of have moments of control and to lose it feels worse than just kind of losing the whole time in a way for some people. But of all, but of all of the squad, but of all the players to have on a team and be down 0-2, I think I'd feel the most confident with FlyQuest here making the reverse sweep.
Right. I mean, if you look at the series that they have versus CLG, it was a lot of draft-related stuff. It didn't feel like they could figure out exactly what they wanted to do in those first 2 games. They didn't look particularly close, but then as soon as they figured out, oh, the Rengar is really important for us, and they identify a couple factors, if they can make those mid-series adaptations again in this one, maybe they start clawing back in the series.
Yeah, I mean, everybody likes to talk about reverse sweeps and Hai and FlyQuest and all that stuff. Some people actually lose that it's not the actual optimal strategy. This is joking when everyone talks about,
right.
Oh, we got him right where we want him.
It's exactly
This is very clearly not the gameplay coming into the series.
I don't know,
but it is a possibility.
It might be in their prep, go down 0-2.
Well, let's explore the possibility just briefly then. Going into Game 3 here, TSM has side selection. They're going to opt to stick on red side yet again. So almost a bit of a bummer for FlyQuest that they don't even have that opportunity to really change things up within the pick ban phase. But they will have that first pick option to them. Do we expect them to abandon the Ashe as a first pick entirely? What would be kind of that within the series meta pick that they're still looking to discover and figure out as they did with CLG?
Mordekaiser? Yeah. All right, Kobe says Mordekaiser. I heavily disagree with that. I think if they could find some kind of amalgamation of the 2 drafts that they had with more playmaking with a Talon pick as opposed to an Orianna with a stronger bot lane where they had the Karma and the Ashe, I would like to see a lot of playmaking all around the map, and they can each kind of go off and do their own thing while still keeping that Ashe pick.
It is an interesting point, focusing on the mid lane, because you know Bjergsen, he's going to grind out a CS lead if you try and go standard mage to mage matchups with him. So best option probably go with something.
Get out of the lane.
Aurelion Sol, Talia, Talon, all these types of roaming, create plays elsewhere, create that high intensity, high kill count game that you're used to seeing from these guys.
And to be fair, Hai did play the Orianna great in team situations. He had a lot of big shockwaves, but he was down 50 CS or whatever it was to Bjergsen early on, and just if he can't get out of the map and you're just conceding pressure around the mid lane, it does make it harder for Moon even to get involved in plays.
Well, a couple ideas here. We've seen FlyQuest down 0-2 before. We'll see if they can strike back after the break in a Game 3 to start that reverse sweep, but who knows? Don't go anywhere.
Vincent, you're so handsome, dude. Please. You're so handsome and the swain of my existence. That's all you can say to us? Our compliments?
He gets the slow onto both, he does. Now the root could be in either one, finds WildTurtle, Ignite is on. Heal's not going to mean much. They have the damage, the flash, the follow, the kill. First blood on the Moon yet again.
I'm coming through Phreak, I'm coming through Phreak. Ashe.
Come behind them.
I'm 5 seconds away. Ashe dead, I'm a Karma. I'm here.
Always cut off.
I'm on Ivern, I'm killing Kennen.
We have Karma.
Nice.
They have Syndra back to heal, but the chase is in. They want to get the stun out from Balls. Hauntzer running low on HP. They almost get the kill. The chase is in. Sven's going to be next up. That's a 2 for 0. The chase, the root's going to land. And it's going to be FlyQuest finding their way into the game. Now Balls has to somehow 1 versus 5. Flaxton looks for the damage, looks for WildTurtle, can't kill him off. And he's going to get the 1, but it isn't enough. He gets the 2, but it's still a 3v0. The 2-0 start, and FlyQuest need to hope for a reverse sweep.